You guys all ready?
Wait, are we not to be a diva, but am I just on that cam? Okay.
They only had one.
There's no cam on me?
Which one are you on?
I'll just
I'll
handheld.
I'll point it towards
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't like a...
Oh, okay.
Only one. Yeah, no.
Right, okay.
Yeah. There usually isn't.
Holy shit. Right off the bat, that gets fucking mentioned. I mean, talk about fucking divas. Holy shit.
No, I started it with not to be a diva.
Yeah. P1. I want fucking credit for every joke I drop.
Quiggs needs a camera.
This guy needs his
Where's
close
my
up.
camera?
Yeah. Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome on back to the Rubbin is Racing podcast. It's brought to you by NASCAR. NASCAR is rolling into Talladega this weekend, and we're rolling in with them. The Geico 500 from Talladega Superspeedway starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, April 23rd, only on Fox. We couldn't be more excited to show up for this. You shouldn't be more excited to watch this race. Anything can happen, so make sure you tune in on Sunday, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Fox. Alrighty, what's up, guys? Welcome back. First off, right off the bat, we have sweatshirts still in the Barstool Sports Store. Spider and I are wearing ours until they're about see-through. So go to the Barstool Sports Store, hit NASCAR, I think. That's what you have to look for.
Yeah, type in NASCAR in the search bar. They'll come up.
Yeah, and I only get compliments on them. They're slimming. They're fat guy friendly. They're obviously skinny guy. There's the dichotomy right here, right? We look like the number 10. So
they play for all sizes.
Yes, young people, old people, whatever the hell you need, hit us up in the Barstool Sports Store. It actually helps us out when you do it. Not monetarily, but it helps us come up with other ideas so they would be able to put those in the stores we have them. Small correction from last week. A couple people had pointed out, perhaps I didn't mention it correctly. The 75th anniversary of NASCAR, which everybody knows, they're doing the 75th best drivers. I said they already had 50 out. They were going to add the other 25. People had lost their minds because they'd seen the original list of 50. So many drivers weren't on it, but they didn't understand the assignment, right? The other 25 were coming out. It winds up the original 50 were actually released in 1998 from that list from the 50th anniversary of NASCAR. So the next 25 were from the past 25 years. And since the first 50 dropped, NASCAR has added, as I mentioned last week, a couple of these: Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, right? Kane?
Yep.
Yeah, Mike Stefanik. Sterling Martin has been added since the last time we spoke. Greg Biffle, who we want.
I want him on the show. He was at Rough and Rowdy. I know he's a Barstool fan, and we're a fan of his, so we would love to do something together.
So potential guest. He's the guy who drove the pace car that I did at Daytona a couple of years ago. Kyle Larson was added this week, and what I thought was the best story was Randy LaJoie, Corey's dad. And Corey got to give his dad this honor of being one of the 75 greatest NASCAR racers of all time. I believe on the Stacking Pennies podcast, I have to assume.
It was. Great moment.
Man, it was very, very cool.
Yeah.
It's so, not incestuous, but there's so much nepotism within NASCAR, right? It's like there's 5 last names throughout all of NASCAR. So when you see these guys get together with their old men, you know what I mean? Especially me being a father, like seeing Corey pull out the box with the whole honor, and the dad got pretty choked up.
Yeah, it was a pretty emotional moment.
Yeah, so it's cool.
And
again,
Corey was like thanking him for setting the example for him and his kids and shit. Like, I don't know, the whole thing was pretty touching.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good in all sports when you see that father-son type stuff, or father-daughter, I guess I have to mention now. But it was especially nice to see it with a guy that we like Corey. I have to give the ladies a shot. Martinsville recap. I'd seen a stat. I know I'm not doing the TV stats anymore, but viewers were actually up this year for the NOCO 400 at Martinsville. But the rub is because last year was on a Saturday night. So maybe that has something to do with it. Or maybe people hear Martinsville, they think of the Hail Melon, so they're tuning in. Either way, viewership was actually up as far as TV ratings go, and that's the first time that's happened this season.
Do you think that was because of Chase's return? How much of that was?
Yeah, that too. That has to factor into it, I guess.
The Chase Elliott effect?
Yeah, so Chase, Martinsville, Saturday versus Sunday.
And it just depends on what else is on TV.
Yeah. It did
like
seem...
There's a lot of things that NASCAR just can't compete with sports-wise, and I don't think there was much on that day.
No. Like the week prior, we had Masters.
Yeah. What?
But there's like 5 NBA games.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
nobody watches the NBA.
honestly, I'm kind of with Quiggs. I would say a lot of NASCAR fans probably aren't in
Yeah.
on the.
I don't think
But there's
the
probably a lot
overlap.
of NASCAR fans that will watch the Masters,
Yeah,
and that's once a
That-
year.
exactly.
You're not going to
Yeah.
compete with that.
Yeah, I think there is some overlap. I heard Logano was on the call again on Saturday, and from all reports, he killed it.
I didn't hear, but
He's
Yeah.
a really good announcer.
I
very
love
good.
when the Cup guys do Xfinity races. I think that's one of the best things going.
Yeah. And for people who don't know our history, like Logano was one of those guys that didn't do anything with Barstool, and then we created this narrative that he didn't like us. Then Dan and PFT had called him Slogano, and when we finally got to speak to him, just a very charming guy, and he's very good on the call. I like listening to him when he gets out of the car, specifically at Martinsville. He was like, I couldn't catch it.
He's very likable.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I like booing him as well, he is charming and likable, as you said. Like when we did that interview with him, I was like, damn, am I a Joey Logano fan?
You are now, right?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm an unbiased journalist.
Okay, I hear you. The biggest storyline from last week, I think, was the return of Chase Elliott. That's what everyone was talking about. It was kind of on schedule. I think with the original 6 weeks that they had mentioned, he could have probably pushed it out until Talladega. I think that was our guess. Then we had a little bird in our ear saying that it was happening at Martinsville.
Crazy. I mean, I said on the pod like how impressed I was if he was able to come back from that in that timeline, but he did it, and it seemed like he probably, I don't know, the timeline in which he returned is very impressive given the first diagnosis. And again, I'm no doctor, but it seemed very substantial, very significant injury. I think they said multiple breaks and like a 6-hour surgery. So I thought it was,
It felt like he could have used another week of rest. It felt like that race took a lot out of him.
A lot of people said that. Now I didn't really hear much from him post race, but
Yeah.
a lot of people were saying, did he come back too soon?
But maybe it was good. I mean, that might have been his plan. He might have been like, I'm not fully ready. I'm not going to win, but it'd be good to just kind of get back in the driver's seat so I can be ready to win this week.
I got to imagine he's got such bad like FOMO. Like watching these guys, and I know he's rooting for Josh Berry, but watching someone else drive your car has got to suck. Like, I don't know. So I'm pumped he's back, and I think that might have something to do with the uptick in viewership.
6 weeks off, right? He qualifies 24th. But I think the difference for me with you, Quiggs, is that I thought he was one of 2 drivers that actually looked like he was passing cars, particularly at the end. It was him and Truex.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there was a lack of passing up front. That was one of the things that frustrated people about Martinsville. And the race was won off the pits, right? Again. But I think if you just kind of looked back a little bit, watching Truex climb through the ranks at the end was very fucking impressive. And you looked a little bit further back and watching Chase climb through to a top 10 finish. I thought that was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. He looked physically exhausted after the race. And,
I wish Truex had, like, I don't know. I kind of wish we had, like, 20 more laps just to see what happened once Truex was running him down. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy Kyle Larson won, as well as my future, the future I have on Kyle Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's good news. But just for drama, I felt like we were finally getting to a point where there was race moves
but I don't
happening.
think he would have caught Larson. I think he might have moved up further. But
What was Truex's pit strategy on his last stop?
I think 4
Okay.
tires. I think. Because Larson was really the only one who did 2. And that was
the winning call.
the move.
Yeah.
Which I think
Joey stayed out, and he finished P2. So, I mean, that might have been the call, right? Because
That's true because, I don't know, for the first half of the race, I feel like Joey was nowhere to be
Nowhere.
found until they, like, how the scoring scrubs and they show the back of the pack. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was in that group
Yeah.
for most of the race.
Priest, your guy.
Yeah, Ryan Preece, really impressive. I mean, I think, but also equally a testament to the importance of qualifying and also the significance of qualifying on certain tracks. Track like Martinsville, where passing is not as easy as some other tracks, it's really important to qualify well, and that's exactly what Ryan Preece did. His first ever pole win, so I'm super pumped for him, and that was coming off a week previous where, Tony Stewart might not have been happy with his actions and his response to the Kyle Larson situation. He wins the pole. He wins stage 1, and
He won it from like start of the race right through.
Yeah,
he
wire
dominated
to
stage
wire,
one, yeah.
stage one. He had that thing hooked up. Stuart Haas looked unbelievable, and I'm just a bonehead pit mistake that cost him. I think speeding on pit road sent him to the back. He still managed to get a 15th place finish, but
Yeah,
I was just gonna ask quick. Can you explain the 2-tire strategy?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so it's obviously you're putting 2 tires on instead of 4, which usually you like it. I think Larson's pit stop time was like 4.7 seconds, and everybody else, if you're going 4, it's about 10 seconds. I think people should do it more. I think it gives you enough in the end.
there's got to be a reason why they don't do it, though, right? Why was Larson
they're
the only
smarter
one?
than me, but I don't know. I think they just had a feeling that going no tires was a death sentence. Going 4, like I think Larson was in about 4th or 5th. I think they knew that if we took 2, we're moving to the front of the pack, and we have enough with the 2 tires to get.
I
the
think
lead.
it was a very Trackhouse 2020 move or 2022 season move with like the crazy pit calls or like the strategy that otherwise wouldn't be considered, and it ended up winning them the race. So fascinating.
I just don't think 2 tires should be considered crazy. I think people should do it more.
So is it like he just considers he'll like have enough control with 2?
Yeah.
Where it's like he trusts it to do that.
It'll give him enough like added grip that it'll just let him like be able to pass cars that didn't take the tires, which that if he's coming out, that's all that's going to be in front of him is the people who took no tires.
Who have old tires. Right.
And if he can get past them,
He's
like
winning.
he thinks he has enough to hold off the other guys.
and the math is there on the tires for the guys in the pits. They know when these things are about to essentially expire.
Yeah.
But I mean, most of it comes from how Larson feels on them. Like saying, I think I could just use whatever. I mean, I've never seen someone go in and just take 1 tire. Like that would be like they do it to have shorter times in the pit. Oh, just give me 1, and they wind up just doing fucking donuts the whole time, right? Because only one thing is gripping. But yeah, that was the difference. That was the whole difference. Because otherwise, Briscoe looked like he had it wrapped up, and I was so excited.
It was
for
crazy. At certain times, it was like, Priest is dominating this race, like, and then it was
Harvick
Harvick, and then it was
Denny.
Denny, then it was Briscoe. So I mean, there were kind of a lot of different cars up front that looked like they had a shot to win, and then Larson somehow comes out of nowhere with that pit strategy and wins. So
And he had to run down Joey. Like it seemed like he really had to run down because, like I said, there wasn't a lot of passing up front. So that was the most chess-like moves we'd seen the whole race. It was very fun to watch. But once he got in front of him, and I alluded to it with Joey's after-race comments, he won by over 4 seconds. He's a fucking rocket ship.
Yeah.
I mean, after he got by Joey, it's like he was going to lap the field. So 2 tires was more than enough. And congratulations, Kyle Larson. I have a serious question for you guys. Do you think he's off the hot seat now? Oh, man, I'm still getting shit for that now every time he fucking wins. But that was good. Briscoe, so it was Larson, then it was Joey, then it was Truex, who battled to 3rd, then Denny, then he got a top 5, and then Briscoe, after leading a race high 109 laps. Briscoe had surgery on his finger. We have an update on that, right? So Briscoe suffered the injury while racing a dirt late model on April 6th, contacting the wall in qualifying, which ripped the wheel out of his hand and broke his finger. That's how it happened. I spoke to Chase yesterday. I called him up about being on the show today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, his wife had a doctor's appointment, so he had to go. So he said that he was feeling good. He feels good going into Talladega. He had mentioned on one of the social media platforms that he was a little bit drugged up. So I'd asked him to bring any extra drugs because I know that they
tell
don't
him
use
to bring
them all.
that to Dega.
Yeah, he's like, I was just, alluding to it. I'm only on Tylenol. So Chase Briscoe is not going to be hooked on perks. For anyone who might be concerned about that out there.
You should have told him to take a perk and then call in.
A little something. Yeah. I said, if you have any other painkillers, bring them our way. We'll boof them. There was a guy, NASCAR man. I don't know who he is, but he's on Twitter, and he said something I thought that was interesting. Eric Almirola finished 6th place. His 6th place finish leaves only 4 full-time drivers without a top 10 this year. Only 4 of them. Ryan Preece, Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton, and Ty Dillon. Ryan Preece, Gragson, Burton, and Dillon. Who gets it first? I'm asking you guys. Those are the only 4 drivers who don't have a top 10 so far, as we're 9 races into
I'll
the
tell you
season.
what, I think it's going to come this week at Talladega. I think it's going to be probably Ryan Preece, or wait, read me those names again.
So Ryan Preece, Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton, and Ty Dillon.
Oh,
Who's not going to be it? Who are you not even considering?
Ty Dillon,
Dillon.
out.
Okay. Harrison Burton has not had a good season.
Harrison Burton,
I think-
this would be the track for him to have
I
a
think
good day.
Harrison Burton this weekend.
Yeah,
like Harrison
this
Burton.
would be the weekend for him to have a good day.
Right.
Him or probably Ryan Preece. I think one of the Fords would be strong.
Okay.
Then who did I just cut again?
So Gragson, you're not considering. You're not considering Ty Dillon.
That's really
It seems like
tough.
you guys are between Harrison Burton.
I don't
want to
pick the tires just yet. I'm giving away some of my picks.
Okay.
But I do think that Legacy Motor Club is another team that I expect to shine this weekend, just given the opportunity before them. And I don't know. I keep picking drivers because they have yet to be successful. Like, Denny's going to win because he hasn't won yet. So maybe that's bad strategy. But I think watch out for Eric Jones specifically.
I kind of feel that way about Blaney this week, like he's overdue. But I think the only person on that list that should be there is Noah Gragson as a rookie. Like maybe through 9 races you don't have a top 10 yet. But the rest of the guys, it would seem like they're relatively due. Standings after Martinsville. So we're 9 races in with 7 winners, 2 doubles, obviously, Byron and Kyle Larson. So I'm looking at it now. I sent you guys the picture of the top 20 after Martinsville, and obviously winners automatically get in. That can kind of change. But on the outside, after the 7 winners, who do we think's next? I don't want to do this too much, but if you're looking at the 7, the rest of the top 10 or so is Ross Chastain as far as point leaders. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, Chase Briscoe. So these are the guys that haven't gotten a win. We going into Talladega where anybody could win. I think if I was to poll the 4 guys in here and say, hey, 7 winners after 9 weeks, do you think we're going to get an 8th winner after this one?
Yes.
And I think everyone says yeah. Like this is the time where we probably get that.
We
right?
should try to put a bet on the sportsbook. Will it be
a first timer?
Yeah.
A first time in 2023.
right?
Yeah.
I like
Or an
that.
existing winner. And I'm looking at this right now, and
I mean, that whole list of names you read were all guys that sound like they're going to get a win before the season's done.
all of them. Yeah, like Chastain,
Like,
Harvick,
I'd be very
Truex.
surprised if any of those names.
Yeah.
Which some will probably have to, just with the number of races left, but they all seem like guys that will have a win by the end of the season.
I don't have a ton of historical perspective, but I just don't know if we're going into week 10 of any other season and we haven't yet seen Harvick grab a win yet. Perhaps it's just not that big of a deal, but it seems like there's a lot of guys who are due. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Larson afterwards says he was surprised by the win. We don't have Kyle Larson this week. We normally have the winners, as you guys know. Kyle does a lot of his Zoom interviews on Thursdays. That doesn't work for us because we drop on Thursdays. So it's one of those things where we don't grab Kyle. I had so many goddamn questions to ask him. You know, like he was sandbagging on this whole Martinsville thing, was he?
Yeah.
Like, and then what's the next Martinsville-like track for Kyle Larson where he doesn't think he'll ever get a win and then he'll wind up winning a fucking clock? You know?
I had quite a bit for him, but we'll get Larson at some point this season. I'm confident he's going to win again, and I'm confident we can work something out.
Well, we put the over-under at 3.5 for Kyle Larson after his first win, and you weren't comfortable with the 3.5. Are you comfortable with 3.5 now? The over on 3.5 wins for Kyle Larson?
Yeah, I mean, I still probably wouldn't take it, but if I had to take one, I would take it.
But I think it's plus money, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yes. I mean, he'll probably get 4, but there's going back to that list of guys.
still
There's so
too
many
many-
guys
yeah.
that can win.
That's why I
so
said
many
no
races.
every time thus far.
Because we're only a quarter way through the season. And if anyone starts to rush the season, it's me, and I'm continuously trying to get you guys to rush the season with this. So Larson wins. I think on the same day he's added to that 75 best list. So he had a pretty good goddamn week.
He
Takes
also
home the
won a
clock.
modified race last night. So this guy I don't even think that's his like bread and butter. I think it's usually like dirt racing.
Yeah.
So I mean, different kind of car. Again, he's pretty much does it all. So impressive.
I'll slip into the twisted history thing because last week we were asking about great nicknames and great celebrations because I talked about the Polish victory lap, which everyone seemed to have liked, and I liked it too. They were talking about nicknames. Somebody brought up Dick Trickle, which obviously is a pretty popular one for people to bring up. But then when the guy had sent me a picture of him, apparently Dick Trickle had a cigarette lighter inside his race car.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You want? I don't want to derail this.
No, you can. I just have the picture of it.
My roommate in college, his dad installed the cigarette lighter. He was on Dick Trickle's pick room.
What?
Get the fuck out of here.
We got to get that guy as a guest or something.
This is the only thing I have. I have a picture. He rode with a helmet without a visor, so he could just rip
Crank
darts.
heaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during
Dudes
cautions, he would just kind of rip heaters during cautions. That's a wild thing to say. Yeah.
I got a Dick Trickle hat.
Do you?
Dick Trickle guy.
He should rip him under a green flag. That would
be awesome, yeah. And then when I mentioned the Polish victory lap, Spider says if you guys have any other celebrations that are cool, somebody had sent me, and I connected this to the little rundown I sent you, the YouTube on it. Kyle Larson in a midget car at the Chili Bowl in 2013. I think this is cool. When people do donuts, apparently Larson takes off the steering wheel and just is able to do donuts with the pedals while he waves the steering wheel out the fucking window.
That's awesome.
In a midget car.
I'm watching it right now. That's fascinating.
And by the way, when you look at Kyle Larson after that, it was only 10 years ago, he looks like he's 8. But it's a pretty cool celebration type thing. So if anyone knows of any others, please let us know.
And we saw the Polish victory lap after Kyle Larson's win this weekend.
Yes, he did. Yeah, then he banged out one of those too. We have a couple of things to review other than Martinsville, including the race that we had seen this morning. We'll get to that in a second. So if it seems like we're rushing through this, we kind of are. So let's put a bow on Martinsville. And to put a bow on Martinsville, we'll do it with your over-under, Spider.
Yeah, let's get into it. So over, obviously really impressed with Kyle Larson, who won the thing. He won this race on a track that he previously said he hated, didn't feel comfortable racing on, and he was plus 1,300, the longest odds we've seen for Larson this year, I think. I was really impressed with Stewart-Haas Racing. Ryan Preece, specifically, obviously the first pole win and stage win of his career. Chase Briscoe doing all that with a broken hand immediately before he's getting surgery, so very impressive. And then Almirola and then Harvick, probably in that order with the Stewart-Haas guys. The final stage, Martin Truex really impressed me. He was fucking a madman running down the field, doing more passing than I've seen the entirety of the race up until that point. And then Chase Elliott, finishing 10th. I know he really probably gave it his all, and Quigg said he was pretty exhausted after that, but he finished 10th in his return, which was probably, maybe some would say, a little premature. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know. Happy to have him back regardless, but very impressed with his 10th place finish. Under William Byron, he was a guy who was down to plus 400 prior to the race, and he was the worst of the Hendrick Motorsports car. I know he had maybe some mechanical problems. I'm not sure what exactly was going on with him, but yeah. And then also Legacy Motor Club, Noah finishing 30th, Eric 31st. Suarez is also on my underperformers. It seems like every week Daniel Suarez is beefing with someone after the race. It was Ross Chastain a couple weeks ago, his own teammate. This week it was Eric Almirola. I don't know. Everything I've seen so far seems kind of trivial. So I think maybe, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Daniel Suarez, pump the brakes, bro. Stop fighting everyone.
Yeah, and he was doing so good earlier.
Yeah,
he was doing so good in the race, the first 4 or 5 races. Now he's just getting mad at people and not doing good in the race.
So and he's bubble, right? I know we're early, but he's bubble. He's 17 in the playoff standings.
So he told me in this office that he wanted to get 5 wins for himself this season, which I thought was a little optimistic. Nevertheless, I don't think he's going to get there if he continues to make enemies in the garage. So I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for Daniel Suarez, but Daniel's amigos seem to be few and far between at this point.
Yeah, he's not making. I don't even know what the opposite of amigo is. What's an
amigo? An amigo.
An amigo.
That's definitely not it. But
all right, so we're done with Martinsville. Let's go to the race that happened this morning. Spider and I had gone down to the South Street Seaport. I shouldn't say Spider and I. The Saint was there, and so was Liam. and the Clarendon 500, maybe? Is that what it's
Clarendon
called?
Clear 500.
Okay.
Frankie MUNIZ is the new, or Frankie MUNIZ, I should say, is the new.
What is it? So how are you going to put the clips in?
Okay, so
Right.
Lars started off. We were talking to Frankie MUNIZ, and he introduced him. I think
I
how did he
said
say it?
MUNIZ.
I think it was worse.
It was
we
horrible.
thought-
It was a horrible
me,
pronunciation.
me and
like
Spider thought he
racist.
was like doing a bit.
Spider, St. Anne is in the wings, Liam on the ones and twos, and most importantly, we got Frankie MUNIZ.
No.
Come on.
What's up?
You gotta correct yourself, Lars, right?
MUNIZ?
Frankie MUNIZ. We're here.
No.
And so it was just silent, and Lars
It's-
was like looking around.
I was
looking-
waiting. I said MUNIZ, or it could have been worse. And again, I'm gigantic and I'm white. It did seem like I was almost racist. So I was waiting for one of these guys to jump in and correct me because I knew I fucked it up. So as I'm waiting, no one's jumping in. So I didn't even know what the fuck to do.
Frankie MUNIZ is kind of culturally ambiguous, is he not?
So I guess he's Spanish, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
I think yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He feels white.
He feels white, but the name
Yeah, but
sounds
the name,
Spanish.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, we butchered
yeah.
the name
No,
pronunciation.
you didn't.
It was bad.
I flubbed it. Absolutely flubbed it. So he's an ARCA driver, and Clarendon is going to sponsor him for a couple of races. So Clarendon, to promote that and to promote that they're a non-drowsy allergy medication. Shout out Clarendon. I use it. It's a non-drowsy, and every other medication that I use, I have some Robitussin right here. I'm sick as a dog. Just knocks me the fuck out. So I'm a user. We show up to South Street Seaport. Wonderful little layout. And they have go-karts. So it's 3 go-karts, and they have a small road course built into there, and so they invited us down to race. Last night, before we were getting set to go down, the guy casually says to me, oh, by the way, there is a weight limit, and the weight limit is 220. Do you think you can get to 220 large? And not unless the bottom half of my body was cut off by a train accident. So my wife, St. Anne, loves to drive, stepped in. And so the first race out of the gate is Spider sitting on the pole, which is
Right.
weird because my wife's usually sitting on the pole. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Spider sitting on the pole, then St. Anne, and then Frankie, right? Starts in third position. So they start this thing off. Spider takes off. I mean, he takes off, and there's a small. They were 3 wide for a second, right, Liam? They were like 3 wide for a second before Spider was just an absolute rocket ship on this little course. And, you know, Frankie's actually the driver, and that's the sponsor, and people are there to see him. Nicest guy in the world. Again, 100% a Barstool fan. We're very supportive of him and all that stuff. But I think he was a little bit ticked off that you you almost lapped him.
He absolutely was. And I'll say this. That's how I would want my driver. If I'm going to bet on a driver, if I'm going to root for a driver, he better have that energy.
Mm-hmm.
If some blogger can come in off the street and beat someone who does that for a living. So, yeah, I understand why. I understand Frankie's energy. That being said, you left out a crucial part of the
Please.
story. Prior to getting into the cars, I was speaking to the tech guys, the guys setting up the race, if you will, and I was like, hey, you think you can maybe turn the governor on Frankie's car? So I'm not sure that they did
think
it.
they might have.
We're going to have to review the footage. I'll let you guys be the judge of it. It might have been just a clean win and pure driver skill while we all had same equipment.
Right.
Or it might have been that there might have a little cheating.
Wins a win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but damn
Yeah,
right. A
yeah,
win's a
fuck it.
win. The car was not sent to inspection, so I'm claiming that. That's mine.
He wanted it to get.
He wanted to
Sent
send
there.
it right
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
inspection.
he did.
He wanted it, but he also said that he wanted to drive that car the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So
After spinning
that thing
my
was
wife
hooked up.
After spinning my wife into the wall, he finished P2. So he's a little bit cut. That's not true at all. I will tell you, as we're joking around about this, and I think the 3 of us would agree. Quick was at a lib meeting.
Always.
I'm a big fan of that guy now.
Oh, he's great.
I didn't know much about him. Meeting him, I mean, with me flubbing his name, us screwing around on the thing like a bunch of infants and whatnot, the guy's a class act, and his story is cool. I'm a big fan of Frankie. No, MUNIZ.
M.
MUNIZ, right? Big fan
MUNIZ.
of Frankie
MUNIZ.
MUNIZ.
Yeah, well, in the
MUNIZ?
MUNIZ.
MUNIZ, yeah, okay.
in the YouTube, we'll add some of. I'll put some clips in. But to be fair to Large, I'm probably a $180, $175, and I don't think I could have fit on one of those either. They were tiny.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm
They
tiny
were-
and
they were-
I barely fit. I think it's a kid's. It was, but then again, that thing
You
goes
were kinda
pretty
whipping on it,
fast.
though.
Yeah, it did feel like I was sliding around the corners a little bit.
Stop it. I'm telling maybe 4 miles an hour. Spider's like, how many G's was I pulling? I was like, you are
I was sliding. There,
not a full fires. They put them all in. Frankie was in a fire suit, but you guys had the helmets and the protective whatever the jackets and
I
stuff.
definitely left rubber on the pavement there.
When right when he crossed the checkered line, Large looked at me and was like, he's going to be such a douchebag when we were going.
You're right. Insufferable.
Honestly, yeah. He walked. I tell you what, Spider walked into this office afterwards because a couple people here knew that we were doing it.
I had tweeted out a photo. Yeah.
Yeah, and from casual conversation that we were doing it. So Cody was downstairs. Cody does some social first too. But Spider walked in with the same swagger that Ricky Stenhouse walked in after he won the Daytona 500.
Rightfully
Remember,
so.
Ricky had wheeled in the giant trophy, and he was rocking the Rolly, and I think he had the ring.
I got the
He had
brick on.
watch. Yeah. So shout out to Clarendon, I guess, but shout out to Frankie MUNIZ. Fuck.
MUNIZ.
And so MUNIZ, and
There you
good
go.
luck. He's racing in the ARCA race Saturday afternoon in Talladega. So he's going to be down in Talladega. We're going to bump into him. So I think that was great. Brings us to Talladega, if you guys are okay. So this Talladega preview is brought to you by our sponsor, NASCAR. Geico 500 from Talladega Superspeedway starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, April 23rd on Fox. So stage laps, 60 for the first stage, up to 120 for the second, 188 finishes the whole thing. No practice. Qualifying is 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 22nd. You can catch that on FS1. I'm looking at the weather for this thing. High of 80 degrees on Friday. Cools down with maybe a little bit of rain in the forecast on Saturday morning. It's been kind of in and out on the forecast with a high of 66. And then it's going to be like 68 and sunny for Sunday's race. It's going to be an ideal day down in Talladega. And we're bringing the heat. So Quiggs has got the Michelle Obama project he's been working on. So we're going, Cody's jumping down with us. Myself, Spider, Liam, Alex Bennett's coming down.
And Dana Beers.
Dana Beers, Fazoli, a bunch of people coming down. So we're going to have the RV again.
Yep.
They sent us a fucking menu. So we're going to have like a different
Is
grilled.
is someone like cooking for us?
Yeah, the same dude, I think.
That's unbelievable.
and
He's
the-
great.
the
By the way,
hospitality.
we didn't hire that guy for
Hold
more
on a
stuff.
sec. So I was talking about.
on the grill.
I'm going to talk to you right now about how much of divas that I work with. Me being, I thought I was the biggest diva in this crew by far. I mean, I own a set of caviar spoons, right? Mother of pearl. I thought I was by far the biggest diva. Quiggs right away. Where's my camera? Spider coming off that fucking thing right away. Liam nothing yet, so he's still on it. They send us the menu about what they're serving on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Everybody else, thank you so much. This looks delicious. Yum. Ooh, I can't wait. Blah, blah. Spider sends, where's the cowboy beans? Right? That was you. Where's the cowboy beans you send across the bow? And I think now, we're hosted by NASCAR.
No. That was an internal group chat, no?
Well, I don't know. We're hosted by NASCAR when we go down to
Was
this.
it?
We have some of the greatest people in the world who
Oh,
host us
man,
while we're
dude.
down there.
I hope that was just
Raquel,
internal.
everybody, Patrick, all these guys are just one after the other the best, and they make sure that we have the best time possible.
Was it not internal, Spider?
It was just
I don't
internal.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen,
where's the cowboy
it-
beans?
it was a-
but MB was like, "What are those?" Which means that she's going to go and probably do the right thing for you and get you fucking cowboy beans.
the cowboy beans were gas.
They are
That's a
elite.
win for everyone.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty.
Let's not forget.
elite, yeah.
But
yeah.
no, for real, thank you so much to the NASCAR team. Every time we go to a race, the hospitality is second to none. And this time it's like we're literally doing a cookout. So I'm really excited for Talladega.
All right, let's put a bow on this one then. So we're going to go to Pickin' the Tires, brought to you by the Barstool Sportsbook. Go to Barstool Sportsbook, download it, sign up today. And Barstool Sportsbook is the first to market on NASCAR lines almost every week. We, like every other book, we add more lines during the week. But if you just want opening lines on who's going to win, Barstool Sportsbook is your best bet. I say that with, without being a homer. So for that reason alone, you should download it if you're a NASCAR fan and if you're interested in betting. Quiggs, you weren't here last year. You want to start off?
Yep. I won this week.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Larson.
All right, so here's a little bit of an update. I placed 10 bets on Martinsville. The week before, I won a lot of money. Then I won a lot of money because a good friend of mine, Big Bag Zhang, had pulled off an upset against Joe Joyce boxing in England. So I was doing pretty well. I was pretty confident going into Martinsville. Anything I touched turned to shit.
Yeah.
And that's not the case with you.
No, I think I had it pretty clearly mapped out. I had 2 bets, Harvick and Kyle Larson. And towards the end of the race, it was kind of both of them up there, so I felt very good about that. But yeah, for this week, got a little bit of different stuff. I'm taking a qualifying bet.
Whoa.
Taking Alex Bowman to win qualifying
10 to
plus,
1.
Okay.
plus 1,000. He's just a beast at qualifying.
Really?
And the Hendrick cars have just been winning them all. I would take him or Byron, and I don't know. I'm going Bowman.
Okay.
Bowman feels like a guy who's been getting the pole a lot this year and then just not really doing much with it. But,
Yep. Agree.
And that's 10 to 1?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a lot of guys right around that, like 10 to 1 number.
Well, that's another thing, too. I'm going to mention that if you guys are looking to bet on a race, if you looked at Martinsville last week, we mentioned how Byron was disappointing because he was the favorite at, I think, plus 350 maybe.
Yeah, 4 to 1, 350, something like that.
And then he wound up finishing P23 or something like that. So plus 350 doesn't get people very excited sometimes because they know NASCAR, you can get longer odds. This race, the odds are wide open. I think the favorite is plus 1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Joey Logano. I think it's 11 to 1 for Joey Logano to win.
It's fucking great. So this is one of those things where I think we should be all over the map on it. But go ahead. I'm sorry. So qualifying Bowman at 10 to 1.
Yep. Daniel Suarez, top 10, plus 495.
Okay.
I think when he's been good, he's been really good. And I feel like top 10's not that. It's kind of it's super speedway. If you stay clean, you're probably for the last lap battling between 20 cars. I think he's in the top half of those. And 495, I feel like is a good number. I feel like Chase is not fully back, even though he is. It's a long race. I like Denny over Chase in a head-to-head matchup, minus 114. And then my pick to win is Bubba, plus
Love
2,000.
Get out of here, really?
Bubba.
Okay.
I love it.
He's
All right,
just very good on super speedways. He's due. I don't know if we could even use due
He's the
anymore.
only active winner from the great state of Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll follow you, Quiggs, because I got a lot of overlap. I like Bubba plus 2,000 as well, but I'm taking a lot of drivers this week. It is a super speedway race. Chase Elliott 14 to 1. I think this has been really the targeted circle get back date for Chase Elliott, and I think that's for good reason. I think he wanted to run this race. Obviously he wanted to run this past week too, otherwise he wouldn't have, but I don't know. I think Chase is going to be in contention here. Ross Chastain, another guy, super speedway win last year, plus 1,800, hasn't won yet this year. I think he's a great pick given the parity that's been existing this season. Also, I looked at Kyle Larson I looked at Quig's winning ticket of Kyle Larson plus 1,300, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I wish I got in on that. So I'm looking at Kyle Larson plus 1,800 here today, and I know he's not a super speedway driver, but he said on the record he wasn't a Martinsville driver either. So I got those guys plus Bubba. And then hear me out. Here's a couple guys I want you to sprinkle. Stenhouse, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Ryan Preece. There's a lot of value there. Ryan Preece plus 5,000. Austin Dillon, a super speedway ace, plus 3,000. And then Stenhouse plus 2,200 and Eric Jones plus 2,800. Those are all guys. Obviously, I'm going to take the guys at the top that I started with, way heavier than the guys at the bottom. But I also think it's a super speedway track. You got to take a lot of cars. The big one could claim everyone on your card. So it's good to diversify. Also, another play that I was super intrigued by on the Barstool Sportsbook this weekend, if you go to teams to win the Geico 500, the current favorite to win is any other team plus 400. Then it's Hendrick plus 450, Penske plus 500, Joe Gibbs 550. I'm taking any other team plus 400.
Who are you getting in that?
So I was looking at this. You get the 7 of Corey LaJoy, Inspire Motorsports.
Yep, not gonna win.
You get Riley Herbst 15, Rick Ware Racing.
Not gonna win.
You get Harrison Burton 21, Wood Brothers.
Not gonna win.
You get no, you don't get. You get Todd Gilliland, Michael McDowell 34, 36, Front Row Motorsports. McDowell's won at Daytona 500. You get Zane Smith in 38 with the Front Row Motorsports. You get the Legacy Motor Club boys with Noah Gregson, Eric Jones. You get Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who won the Daytona 500. You get J.J. Yaley from Rick Ware Racing, Austin Hill, Ty Dillon, B.J. McLeod. That's like 10 drivers, whereas every other team, sorry.
And it's plus 400.
It's any other team, you get
yeah.
about 10 drivers for plus 400.
Feels like you're getting Ricky.
The rest of the teams, you're getting 4 drivers tops. So I don't know. If
Right.
we're
feels like
playing
you're getting like Ricky and Michael McDowell for plus 400 though.
I
know anyone can win, but
I think that it makes more sense in this race than in any other race.
I just want to see what it's all about. So I
Yeah.
will be taking that.
All right, so then give that to me again. So you are taking
Let me
any other team
team to
except for
win
the big
plus
boys?
1400 or plus 400, excuse me. Chase Elliott plus 1400, which I'm going to back Big Cat. I know Big Cat said he loved Chase Elliott this weekend, so I'm riding with Big Cat. I'm considering that Big Cat's pick, but I'm going to ride in solidarity. That way I have a little bit lesser of a card. I'm going to start my card with Ross Chastain plus 1600, or plus 1800, excuse me. Larson plus 1800 as well. Bubba plus 2000, and yeah, we'll leave it at that, and then sprinkle the rest of the guys today.
It's scary that everyone's thinking Bubba. I guess maybe everybody is. A total of 12 different drivers have won their first NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega. 3 are active this weekend. Brad Kay, Ricky Stenhouse, and Bubba Wallace. And I kind of like all 3 of them.
Oh,
But I'm going to separate. Go ahead.
wait, I don't think I mentioned Eric Jones, right?
I didn't
not
hear you say
much. You mentioned
He's
him earlier.
28 to 1. He has, in my opinion, I'm looking at the driveraverages.com, which is a great resource. Average finish in races since February 2020. Eric Jones has finished 9.2, which seems to be the highest of active drivers.
All righty.
Maybe Eric Jones top 10. Put that on my card. Eric Jones top 10.
All right.
I'm taking Brad Kay. Nobody else is. Nobody's taking a look at him. He's plus 1,400.
I wanted to take him to win a stage,
Okay.
but I didn't see it on the book. I don't know if that'll be added later.
I'm taking Ryan Blaney. I got Brad Kay and Brian Blaney, plus 1,400, plus 1,200, respectfully. And I'm taking a bunch of top 5s. The one I'll probably say out loud is that I'm taking A.J. Allmendinger, a top 5 at plus 700. I think that's not a bad bet. A.J. Allmendinger tends to stick around in races.
Yeah.
I find him that he finishes a lot of races.
I think you took him in a race that didn't make a ton of sense to take him top 5
Yeah.
a little while ago, and it hit.
Yeah, so I'm going with Dinger again at plus 700 in the top 5. I'm going to add a bunch to that, but for now I'll just have 3 on the card. Brad Kay, Blaney, and Dinger top 5.
I got one more. Harrison Burton over Ty Gibbs, a featured matchup. I like Harrison Burton. He's plus money, plus 103 over Ty Gibbs to finish.
So the
better.
guy who doesn't have a top 10 finish against the guy who we've been touting as having too many top 10 finishes as a fantastic rookie, and you're taking the other side, you're taking Harrison Burton.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Right, I mean, Ty Gibbs has had enough.
He's
top 10
had
finishes,
enough.
so,
Harris-
yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw Big Cat mention Chase Elliott, I took him off my card. All right, so that's it. So that was Rubbin is Racing, brought to you by NASCAR. We're heading down to Talladega. So we'll have out some videos. We'll be all over social with it, and the whole crew will be there.
Hey, if you see us, say what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, or tell us where you're going to be at. I don't know where our RV will be, but and I've never been to Talladega, so I'm fucking
You're in
terrified.
for it. It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite races.
I'm doing something crazy. I'm going to Tuscaloosa on Saturday. I'm going to the Pike House. They have a Croatian DJ coming through, which is fine. I'll do some E. And then if people still do that, maybe Molly. And then I'll be back for the race early on Sunday. So Friday night, tearing it up. Saturday, I'll be in Tuscaloosa, back to Talladega. And then we leave Monday, easy peasy. right?
It's going to be a great weekend. Join us. Tune in. Follow us along on socials, and we'll see you at the track.
Enjoy the races. Oh, and by the way, Barstool Sports Store. Get there and buy some sweatshirts.
Go, go, go.